everyone, Grandma Mia here, and I'm going to continue on Echoes of the Fae, and this is going to be part 4. My normal game is down for maintenance, and I try to at least play this game at least once a week and broadcast it. I've got the music off, I think, so hopefully... Anyway, Harriman just said, "Is it always this loud?" For the last time we played it, they were headed to the bar. So, we're at the bar.
It'll be fine.
This isn't loud, Harriman. The night is just getting started. There are empty booths. I'm sorry, but this is definitely loud. Don't worry, you'll adjust. Just a moment. I'll check with the bartender to see if Anya is on duty. I'll grab us a booth.
This is new.
You're not just going to sit at the bar like usual? Of course not. I've got company. You do? Yes, silly, you. I don't normally have a friend here. I'm going to enjoy this.
That's right.
Well, fine. We'll take a booth. That way no one can hear us talk, but I hope you don't plan on being here all night.
You with me?
I'm gonna stick around as long as I feel good. While Harriman heads off to the bar to check out on our lead, I settle down in a small secluded booth near the back of the bar. Normally, I'd be in the middle of the crowd enjoying myself, but with any luck, I'm about to interview one of the few people who could lead me to Fulren Adak.
Quite disappointing.
She's not here. She works the morning shift tomorrow.
Ugh.
Ah, damn it. At least we're here at the bar so we can drown our sorrows.
Sophia.
Well, great. Please, Harriman, don't say you're just here to bring me down. There's a difference between keeping you grounded and bringing you down.
Time to relax.
Let's see how this plays out. Waitress, a bar and a whiskey for me, and for my friend,
If you insist.
a glass of white wine. Wine on the board? Here on the border? Are you sure about that? You want me to have a drink, don't you?
Too bad.
Your loss.
However,
I don't think Vodask wines are that bad. Good for you. Guess it's like Lushan perfumes. There's no accounting for taste. Well, if I'm being honest, this isn't my first drink of the day. Fantastic. What have you been up to? Actually, I went out for a drink with Edward. You did what?
Keep your pants on.
I knew you disapproved, but please let me explain.
why?
I thought you didn't trust him. Yes, but he asked me out and I couldn't just refuse. Sophia. No, just hold up and listen. I don't think he's really interested in me. Or if he is, it's entirely secondary. I don't see how this makes anything any better.
I've got this.
It's a distraction. He wants to prevent me from investigating him, or he just wants me to keep track on everything I find. Or he just wants, he's trying to play mind games with me.
However,
And you're letting him, from the sounds of it? No, I'm just playing along. He thinks I'll get distracted or slip up, but I think he will. While I'm sure he's hiding something from us, I don't think he's an expert liar. So you think you can outsmart him? I know I can outsmart him. Oh, let's just hope you're right.
Any ideas?
Hey, do you know anything about Patriarch Vanzen?
I don't understand.
I'm not too informed on the Krovikan Church. They don't go out of their way to recruit Leshen. You'd think that, but I've been spending some time with the Patriarch and I'm not so sure. What do you mean? Earlier today, he was talking about why the church might appeal to your people. It's actually kind of interesting.
From a Leshen perspective.
We are taught from a very early age that the Krovigans worship a false goddess, a creature from the sky that stole a bit of magic and used it to charm the foolish humans. I can't imagine there are many of us who would turn towards Esther after being indoctrinated as such.
I got this.
Apparently there are. The patriarch describes them as Lushan seeking something novel, especially after the betrayal of the Irden. Perhaps, but I don't know why they would turn from one religion to another. But who am I to judge? Regardless, I personally have no more need for the Irden or the Krovicans. You're probably better off for it, but the patriarch at least makes things here interesting. He's nothing like the patriarchs in the East that I grew up with, always so stuffy, nowhere near as manic. I just hope he can find that fox for us.
I wonder.
So anything more on Sierra or Alba you can tell me? You've been looking into her case, haven't you?
It's possible.
Inspector Luca is scouring the city for her. He's convinced that she's here. I'm not so sure. Why not? Pretty simple. It's a stretch to think that she would return to the human side of the forest. If she's radical, who might be wanted by an imperial authorities? If she escaped imprisonment or punishment, why would she press her luck and come to Vodesk? Who knows? If Luca thinks that she's here, he must have his reasons. Understandably, he won't share them with me.
Intriguing.
You have simply surprising amount of confidence in the abilities of Inspector Luca.
Remind me.
He seems relatively competent. He seems like a man who desperately wants to prove something. He wants Sierra to be in the city so he can catch her. He's allowing his desires to override common sense. You're overthinking things.
Not again.
You always say that. It's always true.
Let's get another.
Bartender, another round.
You don't really mean that.
I've barely touched my wine. Then you need to catch up.
Are you all right?
How are you feeling?
This is the longest.
How am I feeling? Much better than 30 minutes ago. I'll say that much.
This isn't safe.
That's not what I mean. Any side effects from your transformations yet? Do you feel like meowing, crawling around, any fur sprouting up anywhere?
Remind me.
That's a very personal question, Herman, and not one that I'm inclined to answer in public.
As a doctor,
As a doctor,
I got
as your patient, I'll have you know that I am entirely furless.
that's besides the point.
That's a relief.
It'll be fine.
I'm perfectly fine. I know why you're worried. I'm unique, but it's been months and without any awful side effects from my magic, and you still can't believe it's possible. My experience tells me that it's not possible, and remember, my people have been using magic for hundreds of years. But none of them are like me. I know that. I just see that as another reason to worry rather than relax. Besides, if you didn't have this power, enough about me. We talk about me all the time. It is one of your favorite subjects. Very funny, but I'm trying to be gracious for once. Let's talk about you. Me?
Could there be a connection?
Decisions. Let's ask Herman about his past. We rarely talk about your time before the war. You were a doctor, right? What kind?
I don't understand.
What do you mean, what kind? Did you treat disease or injury? Did you perform surgery or deliver children? What was your specialty? Lushan doctors don't particularly specialize. Magic treats an infection the same way it treats the wound. Fey energy strengthens the body ability to recover, and we doctors amplify that effect with spells. How many doctors did you have in Chaldi? At any given time, I would say several dozen. Chaldi was a rather large city, and treating serious injuries would require significant Fey energy. Channeling that energy can be exhausting to any normal magic user. Did you like it? Of course, there's no more fulfilling profession than that of a healer. If not for the war, I would have been content to remain a doctor for as long as the city would have me. At least you could stay a medic. You didn't have to fight on the lines. You didn't have to hurt anyone.
About on a
Ah, but I did. I saved many lives, but I could not choose which lives I could save. I allowed dozens of Iridan fanatics to return to the front lines time and time again, where they fought with every fiber of their being to kill your people. In a roundabout way, I'm responsible for more deaths and destruction than most.
Huh?
Sounds backwards to me. Does it? If Lushan were so resilient, if they could have been struck down, sent home with the kinds of injuries that would disable a human soldier, the war would have been over in a few years. Because of doctors like me, it waged for decades. Okay. I had Discord up and I didn't realize it on my laptop, and people were having a conversation, and that little beep noise. Oh, I can't get rid of it. I wonder what's going on. How do I get out of it? I don't know how to log out of Discord. But last night, Discord confuses me completely. Okay. We'll just have to deal. Oh, wait, maybe I can turn down the volume. I'll turn down the volume on my laptop. Okay. The Iridan made their own choices. You can't be blamed for what they did. You think you should have just let them die?
This could have gone.
At times, it felt like that what they wanted. Wow, I really didn't mean to bring everything down like that. I'm sorry. No, it's fine. You wanted to know. Anything else you want to ask me about? Living in Vodask.
Anyway,
How have you adjusted to living here in Vodask with humans?
Fantastic idea.
It's been surprisingly easy transition. Back before the war, I could never imagine living among humans. So weird that you remember what it was like before the war. I wasn't even born yet. I suppose even then your people didn't like us. I heard humans were dirty and smelled foul.
not bad.
Hopefully it's not true.
That's right.
Sometimes it is, but it's not universal, which is a relief. You actually wash yourselves more often than we do, which came as a surprise. But you do little to hide your scent. Now I realize that Leshan perfumes are a point of contention between our people, but they smell like lamp oil and rotten meat. We have very different senses, Sophia. Our sense of smell is sensitive to more natural scents, so we cover them with artificial scents. Terrible artificial scents. They're actually quite neutral, muted odors to us.
I've got this.
I'm just glad you don't wear them anymore.
That's right.
I do what I can to fit in. Any other troubles you've had in Vodask? Other than the occasional angry elf thrown my way.
I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry about that.
Don't concern yourself.
I knew what I was getting into, and I'd much rather be here than back in Caldi, that's for sure.
Let's see.
That's good to know. Let's see.
Magic.
So have you ever dabbed in anything other than healing magic?
That reminds me.
Only when I was very young. I specialized early, which is important if you want to make a career out of any kind of magic. So what did you try out? Fire magic, actually.
What?
Really? You? I just can't see it.
Now what?
What, you don't think I could be a fire mage? You're so calm and reserved. Thinking about you hurling balls of flame around a battlefield doesn't seem right. So what you're telling me is that you haven't met many Lush and fire mages, because controlling flames requires a very cool demeanor. If anything, I was too emotional for it. But I can throw fire around, or I could early on. I hardly think. Sophia, you are the exception to every rule I know about magic. You're a simple size of one in all ways. Sample size of one in all ways. So don't try and apply your experience using magic to the lesson. What happened when you tried to use fire magic? I burnt my spell book into ash. Okay, that's funny. It happens more often than you'd expect. We never had enough copies of that particular book for the class. When I toasted one, I realized I should probably transfer. You took to healing magic better? Some would say that it is the easiest branch of magic to perform, because you are able to use both your own connection to the Fae as well as your patience. On average, you can tap into twice as much magical energy. However, it is risky to play with another Leshen's Fae energy. You use it to heal him, but you can just as easily turn it against him, poisoning it with your own.
I have my doubts.
I wonder if that is why you were able to heal me. My connection seems to be so strong, so you had a lot to work with. It's very likely your wounds should have killed you, but damn it, here we are talking about me again. Do I just steer everything back to me? It does seem that way. I'm sorry. Anything else you want to know?
That's all the questions I have now.
That's all the questions I have.
For another glass of wine.
We should probably cut the night short, Sophia. We have lots of work to do tomorrow, and I don't bounce back like you.
You've had one glass.
Our bodies process alcohol differently, and...
Don't lie to me, Harriman. I know that Leshen can drink plenty. You're just trying to get me to leave.
Expressing concern for you doesn't seem to work. So I tried a new tactic.
You don't need to be concerned about me, though. How can I get that into your head?
I'm your doctor, Sophia. It's my job to be concerned.
Well, can I get a different treatment plan?
That's not how it works.
Maybe it should. Maybe you should just leave me alone when I tell you to.
Sophia, just calm down. Where is this coming from? Weren't we just having a nice conversation right now? And suddenly...
Suddenly you want to leave. You want to go home.
It's getting late. You need to rest.
Why? Why do I need to rest? Is that a medical diagnosis or just your opinion?
It's common sense. This has been a long, stressful day and...
And what?
I'm sure you're exhausted.
Maybe I'm not. Maybe I can just keep going. How will you know?
Well, I wouldn't. But like I said, common sense would dictate that after a long night out and a day full of running around the city, the best thing for you would be a full night of sleep.
Any suggestions how I might manage that? Because a few more drinks might be the best prescription.
Oh, you're having trouble sleeping? I can get to work on a potion that...
Yes, Harriman, yes. I'm having trouble sleeping. Of course I'm having trouble sleeping.
If you told me...
I told you 2 months ago.
But I thought it was resolved. You haven't mentioned it lately.
I'm leaving. The girl we're looking for isn't here. There are cheaper bars and Vedots and better company.
Sophia, stop!
Oh,
I'll see you in the morning. Hopefully I don't remember this so it won't be awkward.
Wait!
I don't exactly know what happened next. I suppose I got my wish and found another place to drink. Everything went black for a few hours. Did I find another bar? A packaged liquor store? I don't know. My next memory is a sharp pain in my head and a strong grip on my shoulder pulling me up off the ground.
Rykov, get a hold of yourself.
What? Inspector Luger, what the hell are you doing here?
What do you think I'm doing here? I'm keeping the peace. I received a call about someone picking fights with Leshin in the Cathedral Square.
The middle of the night.
No, it's the morning, and you're the last person I expected to find here. What are you thinking?
Either one you were called about.
And all this time, I thought that you liked the Leshin more than us.
What? What was I doing?
The witness has you pulling a Leshin bartender out of his bar, screaming at him about a fox you need to find, and throwing him to the ground. Though, if I had to guess, I'd say he got you across the hand and escaped.
Oh no.
How much did you have to drink last night, Rykov?
Not you too.
Fortunately, I'm the one who received the report, and the one that found you.
What's that supposed to mean?
The Emperor did not give me orders to protect the Leshin of Adat, so
So you're not even going to arrest me?
I thought you would be pleased. Besides, from the look of you, I think your opponent probably won the fight.
You have to find him.
So he can go to the county government and get you thrown in jail. I don't understand, Rykov. I'm doing you a favor. We're all still angry at the Leshin, and that comes out sometimes. You, of all people, deserve a few outbursts.
No, you have to find him to make sure I didn't hurt him.
I don't understand. He clearly fought you off, and then knocked you out.
But I could have. Just ask around. I don't want to hurt him, but I could have. I'll feel a lot better if I know for sure I lost the fight.
He went back to work and finished his shift at the bar.
Why didn't you tell me that before?
Thought you might go after him again. Get your other hand hurt.
So he's fine?
He didn't spend the morning passed out in a gutter. So, yes, he's relatively fine. Now get along, and we'll keep this our little secret. Especially from
Passed
your
out in the
Leshin
gutter. That's
friend.
pretty bad.
Why are you being so nice to me all of a sudden?
For the last 2 months, you've been an enigma to me. Nothing you do makes sense. This makes sense.
Trying to beat someone up?
Probably the most human thing I've seen you do.
What if I'd won the fight? What if I'd hurt that man?
Then I'd have a much harder decision to make about walking away. Seriously, go home and sober up. Don't you have a case you're working on?
I suppose that's true.
Okay, so let's go home and see if we could, I don't know, get cleaned up or something. Every time I start doing this, I start yawning.
Oh, there you are.
Listen, about last night. I was out of line. Aren't you going to say anything?
What can I say that won't upset you? I want you to be healthy. After all you've gone through, I want to help you in any way I can. But my attempts often irritate you.
I'm sorry. I appreciate your help, Haramon. Most of the time. It's just sometimes...
You're under a lot of stress. I should have backed off. I began work on a potion that should help you with your sleeping troubles. It should be safer than alcohol, at least in the short term.
You still don't understand.
Then help me. What am I missing?
It's not that I can't sleep. I can sleep. I just don't want to.
Why? Why is that?
How could somebody not want to sleep? Sleeping is just so
It's not
nice.
something I can explain. Leshin don't dream. Couldn't even imagine.
Where were you last night? Where did you go? You don't have to tell me if you don't want to. I'm just curious.
I went to
I'm
another
gonna tell
bar
him.
and got into a fight. Cut my hand pretty bad.
What were you thinking?
It's all a blur.
How much did you have to drink?
Enough that I can't give you a good answer to that question.
At least you're still standing.
I attacked Aleshan's bartender. I think I was trying to find Florin's pet box.
That doesn't make any sense.
Polish off a liter of vodka and suddenly everything is connected.
Anything else happen I should know about?
I held back. I didn't use magic. Probably could have killed him if I wasn't careful, but I was.
That's good.
Luca's the one who found me. He won't press charges.
Must have been a tough choice for him. Support you or a random nation.
Didn't seem like he had any trouble making that call.
Most crimes against Leshin in Vados go unreported for a reason.
Great, as if I wasn't feeling bad enough already.
But like you said, you held back. You didn't hurt him.
No, in fact, I let him get the better of me.
Maybe you wanted him to win?
I don't even know. Are you sure this cut on my hand?
Looks fairly deep. Shouldn't be a problem. But I should ask, can you fix it?
I've told you, I have no idea how to use healing magic.
Worth a shot. I'd have a lot better time managing you if you suddenly decided to become a healing mage.
No such luck. Feeling a lot better now, actually.
Despite the hand?
Nah, this is the kind of pain I can handle. Besides, about that healing spell?
Yes, fine. I will continue enabling you. There, all better.
Like it was never even hurt.
Just don't take it for granted. Your connection to the Fae makes you far easier to fix up than other humans, but that doesn't mean it's a good idea to get hurt. I know. I'm not going to stop lecturing you about that, but for now, don't we have some work to do? I can head back over to the Winter Palace
Focus.
to talk to Fulren's ex-girlfriend only.
Hey!
I wouldn't start drinking this early, Harriman. What about last week? That was different. I wasn't working. You were looking for that merchant's wife. I was undercover.
About the case.
Fine, I'm letting it go, but that isn't the only lead you'll need to follow up on. I received a note from Arkady Vanzin. He says that they trapped the fox for you. The church trapped it? That's what this message says. Huh. I guess I'll go check it out. Maybe I'll be able to sense where Fulren went off to. A bonded animal is like an enchanted object, right?
I think not.
Not at all.
Oops.
Ah, damn it. It's like a leash for a dog, except made of Fey energy. In theory, you may be able to feel the leash, but if Fulren is somehow cut off from the Fey like Tiatha seems to think, it won't lead anywhere. Still worth a try. Finally, there's the military camp. The shipment from the capital probably came in this morning, hopefully with the records Viola requested. Really incredible turnaround from the Empire if she managed to get them already. I almost don't believe her.
Huh?
Why is that? I served in the Imperial Army. We barely got shipments of food on time. Then again, Viola seems to have it out for Eddard. Maybe she'd like to see his war hero in captivity story questioned. Surprisingly petty for someone who has risen so high in the ranks. Not really. Sometimes petty goes a long way, especially of the right targets.
It's possible.
And you think Eddard is a good target?
Maybe?
Depends on what he's telling us. In the meantime, I've been asking to give a statement to Inspector Luca about the events leading up to the immolation.
Sorry.
I'm sorry, I should have never told him that I let you out to free the rest of the prisoners. It was the truth. Saying something different would have put you in even more trouble. I could have stayed quiet, and now I've been officially cleared of treason charges, but there's no telling what they could do to you. For freeing my country during the time of war? For assisting someone responsible for the immolation.
Who can say?
I was imprisoned before the planning of the immolation even began. If there is anyone in the land of if anyone is in the land that the Empire can be sure did not participate, that person is me.
I have my doubts.
I hope they are reasonable. Don't worry about me, just find Florin. If you want to do anything else in Sierra Alba investigation, check back with Simeon. See if his contacts found anything. I like how it just kicked you out the door. Okay, you're done. She's had the same clothes on for like days. I guess I could change the clothes. I think it's just, you just color the clothes. Let's
Hello,
check.
and welcome to the Winter Palace. Where would you like to sit? Magic.
Normally I'd head for the bar, but actually I'm looking for someone. Anya Setov.
You're looking for me? Maybe?
Well, I'm looking for someone you used to know, allegedly.
Allegedly.
Listen, this could be awkward. I'm here to talk about Fulrin Iradak.
Fulrin? Boy, that's a name I didn't expect to ever hear again.
Okay, so not so
We
awkward.
dated for 6 months during the occupation. What?
How?
It's not that difficult. Leshen have all the same parts as humans. But
That's not what I meant. How are you so easygoing about that? This is the sort of thing that could get you ostracized from, well, everyone.
it wasn't a big secret or anything. There were tons of Leshen who treated us well. Let us get away with breaking the rules. Pretty much allowed us to live our lives normally. You spend over a decade sharing a city, and it's hard not to realize that Leshen and humans are pretty damn similar. And some of them can be pretty attractive. It doesn't add up.
Sure, you're okay with it, but what about your family, your friends?
You didn't grow up around here, did you?
No, can't say that I did.
Back east, I'm sure it's a huge deal to have a Leshen friend. But here, lady, I don't remember a time before the occupation. People did what they had to do to get by. And everyone got used to unusual arrangements. You can't be serious!
So you're
They
friends?
didn't care. They liked him. Sure, they made fun of me and called him an elf when he wasn't in the room. But there were no hard feelings. He got us fancy food that none of us could afford during the blockades.
So you were using him.
Using him? Huh, not in the least. He was a wonderful guy, charming as all hell. Damn near killed me when he broke it off. Wait, you said you were looking for Fulrin? Because last I heard, he died during the war.
I keep hearing that, and one of these days I'm going to start believing it. But right now, I've got a good amount of gold riding on the theory I can find him, or at least where he's buried.
Well, I'll see if I can help. But we were out of contact for the last few months before he died, so I don't know what I'll be able to tell you. Can you give me any more details?
Did Fulrin have any connection to the Kovakin church, specifically a sister there named Emilia? The church? No, what a strange question. His fox is there. Now, as I understand, a bonded animal will follow its owner around unless directed elsewhere.
Such a shame.
But Fulrin is dead. The fox would be freed from the bond.
But
Why the church, though? Wouldn't it be attracted to places it knows? That would it mean he would be going there before his death? Fulrin wasn't a religious man. That is to say, he didn't believe in Daon. Did he have any curiosity about the Krovikins? Curiosity? I suppose the same curiosity any of us have. The rituals, the strange outfit, that damn building that the Leshen tried to pull down for years. They're not really that mysterious. It's a church, a cult if you're not feeling charitable, scripture, hymns, boring ceremonies. They do drugs and get naked and dance. They just happen to have a lot of very rich supporters because they can extend your life a few decades.
Huh?
What?
Are you joking with me?
Are you some kind of undercover princess? I don't understand. You're not around here. The Krovicans bore you, and your hands look like they've hardly slipped out of silk gloves for a hard day's work. Some of us work our way up. Others fall all the way down. Guess which one I am. No one works their way up to anything around here, at least not during the occupation. And the Empire, you're not an Imperial agent, are you? Do I look like an Imperial agent? Yes. I'm a private investigator. As for the Empire, at best they'd rather pretend I don't exist. I'm not sure they're any better than the Leshen. At least with the Leshen, you knew why they wanted to keep you down. These Imperials who flooded into the city, you supported the independence of the county?
How about...
I don't give a shit. I support whichever side tips better. There she goes.
Sign me up.
Fair enough. Okay.
Does anything else come to mind?
Do you know anything about Forward's mother, Tiatha? She's the one who hired me.
Joking with me?
She's the one looking for Forward? That's the last thing I expected. Really? Why's that? He was estranged from his family. He hadn't seen them in years and didn't want to. They were, how can I put this? They were more conservative than him, old world Leshen, if you know what I mean.
Maybe?
His mother's on the council for the Alliance of Free Cities.
That's not right.
Oh. I need to clean my glasses because they're dirty and I can't see out of them. They got fingerprints all over. I don't know why. Oh, now I just smeared them some more. Sucks for not being able to see good. I'd like to see those election results. If anything he said about her was true. What did he say? She was the reason he joined the army years and years ago, closer to the beginning of the war. Leshen can live a lot longer than us, you know, and don't age that way. I know about Lesha, Anya. Okay, you can never be too sure. Anyway, she pressured him into joining. She'd spit out terrible things about humans, about how they were draining the Fae of his power and had to be stopped. Doesn't sound like the woman we met.
To me.
Maybe losing him changed her. After he joined up, he found himself stationed in occupied territory and found out that humans were too different from Leshen. They had a falling out when Foreman tried to quit. She told him that the attic would never be home to him again if he stopped fighting. So he did, but he also refused to go back.
Add up.
That doesn't make sense. I thought you knew about Leshen. Their city is the most important thing to them. More important than the Fae. Probably more important than their family getting banished is like being disowned. Worse. Guess that's why Herman's never really gone into detail about that. Herman? My partner. I mean my friend, we work together. Sounds like someone I might want to meet. I don't know about that.
Anyway.
I suppose this brings me to the most awkward question. Why did you and Florin break up?
What do you think? I've got this.
Social pressures.
What did I tell you? Our friends were fine with us.
Another woman?
More like another man. I tried not to take it personally when he told me. Leshen don't really have those preferences. You're all beautiful and all that. Let me think.
Some humans don't have those preferences either.
Yeah, but it's not universal. I told myself it wasn't weird, like I didn't turn him off women. But it's the sort of thing that ticks in your head no matter what.
A lush?
No, actually. Another human. He may not have cared whether I was a man or a woman, but I think he cared that we were humans. I thought a lot about how I should have thrown that back in his face when he talked about how he could love anyone. But instead I was just stunned into silence. Maybe?
You might have regretted it when he died. Silence was probably the better course of action. And I say that as someone who loves a good yelling
I
match.
thought you didn't believe he was dead.
I go back and forth.
Just like Thorin. I like this.
I like the sense of humor. Not enough of that around here. Why? Don't know why Thorin would give that up.
Are you flirting with me?
No. No, of course not. Just being nice.
Good. Because unlike everyone else, it seems, I actually do have a preference.
Nothing wrong with that.
So, anything more? Does anything else come to mind?
I know this is rough, but do you know the name of the man he left you for?
Of course I do. Get this. It was one of the prisoners at the camp he worked at. Name was Edward. You can't be serious.
Edward Galkett?
So you know him? Huh?
I've already talked to him. He didn't mention anything about a relationship with Fulrin.
He's in Vidotsk? What a small, strange world. Never wanted to meet the man. Never thought it was even possible. But to think he's right here.
The story goes that Fulrin died to help him escape the prison camp. Guess that story makes a lot more sense now. But why wouldn't Edward tell me all this?
Maybe he's more afraid of bigots than me. Maybe he's in a lot of pain. Who knows? But
wouldn't he want to find Fulrin if he were in fact alive?
you'd think. Or maybe the stories are true and he knows better than anyone that Fulrin is dead. Thanks.
Either way, thank you for your help. Maybe you didn't give me any new pieces, but you sure helped me arrange the pieces I've got.
Glad to help. Now, you want a drink? Yes.
Sure, what's the harm? Oops. Okay. Let's see. Luke is hiding something, but I doubt if I'll find it. Okay, so we don't need to go there. Let's see what this guy's got to say. I'm surprisingly nervous as I approach Simeon's shop. If there's anyone in Vodusk who could get information on Sierra or Alba, it's him. And I'm not sure I want to know what he's found out.
So good to see you again, Meayumi.
Here you are again, 2 days in a row. What a surprise. I don't think you're really surprised, Simeon. You know I asked you to look into that Leshen Inspector Luca is investigating. Indeed, though I still could never think to predict your comings and goings.
I wonder.
So what about it? Anything from your connections on Sierra or Alba? Yes? You're not going to like what I have to say. That's what I was afraid of. What is it? Was she Irdayan sympathizer, an Irdayan traveling under an assumed name? Did she have anything to do with the immolation?
The explanation is complicated.
Those questions are still rather open. So who is she?
I hate to disappoint you.
First, you must understand that you humans take too narrow of a view of the Irdan. You think they all changed their surname. You think they all know each other and are working together towards the same exact cause. But much like we Leshen often confuse your human politics with your empire and your counties and your kingdoms, the truth is far complex. Oh, I forgot. I clicked through that. What do you mean, believe in Dayon? That's an interesting question. I suppose that they believe that Dayon exist in the same way that, for example, your people believe that this Lady Esther exists. With all due respect, Simeon, there's a corpse of something buried in the catacombs beneath Esternesk. Esternesk? I don't know whether it's a goddess or a beast, but it's a one of a kind and it's real. People have seen it.
I hate to disappoint you.
And plenty of Leshen have seen Dayon.
Remind me.
But it's not physical being, right? How? There are many ways to see Nilivnia. Leshen have a connection to the faith that is impossible for humans to comprehend. We have senses you do not. Talk to any Leshen who have had experience with Dayon. They will say that Dayon has spoken to them, that they have heard Dayon's voice. It's quite real. I didn't mean any offense. No, of course not. But now you see why it is so difficult for me to explain. Your strongest beliefs are directed towards a being you would call tangible. Anyone, even a non-believer could theoretically, I know how to say that word normally, go into those catacombs you describe and lay hands on Esther. It wouldn't be a good idea, but...
Sorry I can't be of more assistance.
You missed my point. Dayon cannot be approached. It cannot be conformed to experience. Dayon is to be chosen to receive its grace. To those few, it is a true and undeniable experience. For all other Leshen, it is a matter of faith. It is a conscientious and force behind the faith. Oh, I can't read. As soon as I'm done with this cutscene, I'm gonna call it a night. Either you have faith that it exists or you do not. How can they be sure that it exists? They can't be sure, and that's the point, because once you can prove something exists, it's impossible to have faith in it.
But you said...
I thought you said that there were Leshen who have experienced Dayon.
Yes.
Yes, and for them it's not faith. They are certain that Dayon exists. They have seen it. And again, discussing this is nearly impossible. Humans, of course, have never felt the presence of Dayon. Even your elders who have found a way to use certain aspects of Fey magic have never been able to chosen to see. Even though I get a sense that Simeon is just stalling, either he doesn't want to tell me about Sierra, or he doesn't have information. My curiosity is piqued. Maybe other humans couldn't understand Dayon, but what about me? Maybe I was different. I wasn't looking for religion, but I have to admit I was curious. What did certain Leshen experience that made them so willing to die with such certainty?
This.
What does it mean to see Dayon? What is it like?
I'm just a simple merchant.
I'm not a Leshen Dask. It hasn't happened to me. Really? Did I seem like the religious type to you? I'm not even really a believer. Oh, I'm tired. I've had the prophet's own metal arms, supposedly a holy object, attached to my shoulder for over a month, and I haven't felt as much of a stir from the Fae. But everything you've said, I'm trying to give you context.
What a mess.
If you're not a believer, what's the point of this tangent?
Charming.
Most Leshen aren't like me. They have faith in Dayon, even if they haven't had the experience like me, and even if they don't agree with everything that your Dan says. Sierra or Alba was one of these Leshen? In a matter of speaking. Get to the point, Simeon. I came here for information, not a theology lesson. Sierra or Alba was part in a splinter group called Dayon's Shadow. Never heard of them. Not surprising. Unlike the Irdayon, they prefer to stay hidden, as the name might indicate. But like the Irdayon and like many other Leshen who were part of other splinter groups, they were strongly against the human-Fae interface. So they were the spies for the Irdayon?
What gave you that idea?
No, you still don't understand.
I need more.
Then I'm going to need more.
So many questions.
The humans want to think the Alliance of Free Cities just rose up and replaced the Irdayon in some kind of one-for-one trade? You want to think that all the religious Leshen are gone and replaced with secular Leshen, but you have to realize we don't work that way. We don't even reproduce enough for that to be possible. Yeah, I'm gonna call it a night as soon as I'm done with this cutscene. Many groups rose up out of the ashes of the Leshen war effort. The AFC is the most powerful, and they displaced the Irgun, but there were and there are others. So what makes Daeon's shadow special? They believe that the Irgun fell because the Irgun were too committed to honesty. That doesn't make any sense. Of course it does. You said it yourself. The reason that you knew none of the undergrad prisoners were fanatics was because Iridun was easiest Leshen to spot. They're always in a hurry to tell you what they believe. I probably know more than any other humans. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm going to call it a night. Thank you for those that did stop by. This is Echoes of the Fae, and next week I will probably, well, since I've got 2 days off this week, and I'll probably be playing Final Fantasy XIV, so I will continue this next week, because I'm really interested in finding out where this dead or may not be dead Leshen is now. Thanks for stopping by. Take care, have fun, and be safe out there.